But as we said there, it looks like Ange Postecoglou could become Spurs' next manager. Andy, I get it. They're trying something different. I mean, it feels like at the minute when it comes to their managerial appointments, on paper, certainly with some of the last couple, I'd say, Mourinho's and the Contes, it made sense. Conte, of course, got Spurs into the top 4 last season.
Yeah.
Obviously ended really sourly. He made a few observations which look like they've come to fruition, by the way. Looks like he was right on some of them. But Postecoglou brings something different.
Yeah.
Do you think Spurs fans should be excited about this appointment?
I genuinely think they should be. And as you quite rightly say, you know, you've had Mourinho, you've had Conte, you've had those serial winners through the door, and for whatever reason it hasn't happened. And they'll all point to this, and the two managers, the two guys themselves will blame others, and then fingers will be pointed here, there and everywhere, etc. But I think just reading his backstory and seeing his managerial career, I like the fact as a very young child he was scooped up by his family and off they go to Australia to start a new life. And when I read some of the quotes that he said about that, my family didn't move there for their benefit, they moved there for mine,
Lovely,
for his, you know, to give him a better chance in life, to give him a start. And I think that's clearly that has never left him, what his family did for him and the sacrifices that they had to make, which is nice to hear and is lovely. And I think it tells you he's a humble guy. The way his team play, I haven't seen Celtic in the flesh an awful lot. I've got to be honest. I've seen highlights, but anyone who comes in and does what he's done over the last couple of years has to be taken seriously. And I think the manner with which his team play, that's the thing. The stuff that I always keep reading is about how exciting, how good they are to watch. Spurs need that. You can't guarantee Spurs, whoever comes in, not going to guarantee Spurs are going to win anything.
No.
What Spurs fans want to see, I think, Darren, now, someone coming through the door that's going to give them a team that's exciting to watch.
Do you think they've tried get the Mourinho's in just to get a bit of silverware over the line? Get Conte, get over the line.
Yeah.
And that hasn't worked. Even though I think if you're winning and they had picked up a trophy under maybe Conte and Mourinho, you kind of go, listen, I've not enjoyed what I've watched, but at the end of the day, he has brought us success. But the fact that at the end of it, there was no success, do you think that's why Spurs fans are just like, not enough's enough? Yeah, no, absolutely right. And I think, and of course, what happens then is with every season that rolls on and nothing much is happening, or the football's not that great to watch, then all of a sudden focus turns on Daniel Levy, as it always does there, and it focuses on the hierarchy, and then it all gets a bit bitter and twisted, and then all of a sudden you've got a broken club. So you need someone to come through the door, and the only way a club ever, I think, can mend is by what goes on the field. Right, and by that, it's appointing Postecoglou, it's giving him the tools to do the job and letting him do it, be brave enough to let him do it, and clearly he's, as he's mentioned in that little clip just there, you know, if you want someone to play attack-minded football, then that's what I do. So they got to live with that. You're gonna have to live with the fact that there's going to be times perhaps when they are a bit open there. It's like, whoa, what's going on here? Yeah, of course. But if all of a sudden things start to happen and things start to grow and you've got players that start to buy into it and get it and are prepared to make sacrifices of their own to make it better, then I think you start moving in the right direction, and then things can, as bad as things get at football clubs, they can mend very, very quickly. Very quickly, yeah. Well, you've got a 5-point plan that you think that they need to do.
Well, I was just, you know, again, producer Joe asked me to come up with this, and it's taken me about 3 weeks to do it, but here we go. No, so one is like laying down the law.
Yeah.
Right? So when a new manager walks through the door, and hopefully we're going to speak to Harry soon, I want to ask him about when because I can't remember. Can you remember when a new manager walks through the door, what they did or what they said?
Well, I remember when Harry came in at Spurs, and I still can't remember his first speech.
No.
So it's
was you listening, Darren?
Oh no, listen, I was listening, but it's one of them where you're right. They first come in. I know I can always remember what the first kind of grasp the first conversation, because it's always like, listen, all of a sudden now it's a clean slate. They all say
correct,
clean slate. Everyone's now got an
opportunities for everyone. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So that was the first thing. But in terms of actual detail,
you can't, can you?
You can't.
Well, I think laying down the law. What Ten Hag has done well this season at United, you can clearly tell that the discipline means a lot to him, and those little things around the camp and around the club on a daily basis are important to him, that players adhere to them, stick to them. Lay down the law. Players very quickly have got to understand, they got to know exactly what is required of them individually and the way that he wants to play. I think he's got to be very clear and concise with that.
Yeah,
absolutely. This is the way we're going to do it. You're rarely stronger, I think, as a coach or as a manager in the Premier League than when you first walk through that door.
Set your stall up.
right? You know, because the way Premier League football, the stats tell us, you know, you're going to have the job for like, I don't know, it can be months, it can be a year and a half.
Yeah.
It might be 2 if you're lucky, 2 years, 2 seasons. Not much beyond that. So you're really stronger in Premier League football than when you first walk through the door. Use that, particularly with your recruitment, of course, and managing upwards. Someone's got to manage Daniel Levy. Clearly not an easy thing to do.
No.
But someone's got to be better at it than what perhaps Mourinho and what Conte were.
Exactly.
They didn't want to know, and clearly there was no unity there at all, was there? Nothing.
No
at
relationship
all.
between the two whatsoever.
No. Get rid of those that you can't or you don't think want to come with you on the journey, right? So I hate players nowadays that are loitering, hanging around, picking up good dough without doing anything really in return. That drives me mad now. And as an ex-player, I don't begrudge any footballer earning sensational money.
Of course.
But I do begrudge the ones that can't be bothered and that sit about and hang around and play here, play there, and then aren't bothered whether they're selected or not.
I think that's so important what you said there, Andy. I think when he walks in the door, I think he needs to identify quickly which players are willing to come with him and which not, because it's almost like even if you've got 3 or 4, even though the squad's 25 and you've got 3 players that maybe are like that can poison the rest of the entire squad.
It can. Of course
so you need to get them out.
Absolutely, get them out the door. And you can. It's not easy to get players out. It's well known. You know, you can't get rid of players always when you want to. But when you first walk through the door, that's your strongest. That's when you can turn around at Daniel Levy and say, look, him and him, I don't want them. Get them gone. Yeah. Get the sporting director, whoever that may be or whatever, get those people to move those guys on, because I don't want to play them.
Even if they go for a lot of money, like Richarlison's had a bit of he's had a poor year by his standards.
Yeah.
Even if he walks in the door and says, do you know what? He's not for me. I know you paid 60 million for him, but he is not for me. Yeah. Then he's got to be able to move him to the side.
Yep, exactly. Fullbacks, I think they need. Tottenham desperately need fullbacks. I think that when you look at the way that the fullback position has developed in recent seasons, you look at Trent, you look at Robertson, you look at what Zinchenko's done for Arsenal this season coming in. You look at what Kyle Walker and others have done at Manchester City, the way they play. I look at Spurs' fullbacks, and whether it's Emerson Royale, whether it's Perisic, who's been a great player, but he's not a fullback. Ben Davies is a great, steady pro, but I don't think has got quite enough. I think they need players on both sides. I think that is an area that Spurs need to develop that very, very quickly. And the final one, and it's something that we're going to talk about a bit later, is that I would let Harry Kane go. I would take the money for Harry Kane, take that, use it, and they've got to use it better than they've used money in the past.
Villas Boris, was it the Bale money?
Tottenham have literally, squandered many many millions on players that have had eyebrows raised from day one. They've got to spend their money wisely, but I personally think now is the time for Harry, who's been a brilliant servant to Spurs, an amazing player. I'd let him go.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein, Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.